Hello, my name is Dominic Canu. We were given a task to create a physical theatre piece around the famous play The Tempest, written by William Shakespeare. In our first lesson, we sat down in class and watched the animated version of the film. Although this version was shorter and faster, I still understood the storyline and plot from the start. Watching this video for the very first time, I took notes about the energy we would have to be used to present and perform this play. I was intrigued with characters like Ariel and Caliban. Instantly, I knew there would be a good stimuli to build our physical theatre on. I thought of this because they were both mystical creatures, old and powerful, which gave me ideas for certain scenes. Watching the video, I could see that they used a lot of powerful movement, sounds, and powerful synchronized movement. Starting the rehearsal process was good. We were put into groups to brainstorm and make notes and ideas of our first thoughts on the performance and key words we thought we could use as a stimuli to work off. We came up with words like mystical, sun, moon, stars, wind, power, corruption. These are all described visually, which we could work on and enable to give us an effect that the island was real. For this assignment, we had to work as a company performance alongside the musical theatre students. At first, I weren't sure how we were going to infuse our work with theirs, but after a while, I found making bonds and friendships with them made working with them a lot more easier. Before we could start creating movements, we had to think more about the characters and how we thought we'd introduce and present them in a performance. So we started to think about the hierarchy on the island and the relationships between the characters. I knew Prospero was one of the main characters, with power and control over the performance. So we then thought of other characters, for example Ariel, that controlled the mystical spirit side of the play, whilst creatures like Caliban represented the more earth, rock and dirt of the performance. Knowing this helped us give an idea on how we could show these notes in our performance. Because these were mystical characters compared to characters like Trinculo, we had to make the movements a lot more bigger and powerful and stronger. We were then given the speeches in the rehearsals as they progressed. One of these were Caliban's confessions about the island. Be not afeard, the isle is full of noises. This line was very important and helpful, because it gave us an idea on how to build and make our own sounds represent the island sounds. I automatically thought of sounds of wind, so I hissed to make an illusion of wind, like this. Sss. Others made deeper sounds involving a body to represent the earth and rocks clashing. This led to a word exercise, helping us learn our lines better. We started off with, be not afeard. We said this line word after word, for example, be not afeard. With everyone saying this at the same time, gave a more mystical feeling to the play. When working with the musical theatre students, I was teamed up with a partner called Ree. Our action was to merge together to become a monster on stage. To show we're entwined, we got on our hands and knees, and I locked my left arm with her right arm. I made my hands disform to give a more effect that they were claws, to show the audience that I was a monster. To add more of a physicality to the actors in the performance, I was partnered up with Alex. My given line was from Shakespeare's famous Sonnet 18. My line was from fair sometimes declines, and Alex's line was by chance of nature's course untrimmed. As a part of doing physical theatre, we had a workshop on how physical theatre was developed. We worked on many exercises, but one that I believed was effective was picking O's, which required us to pick points on our character's body and create a spin, pull, lift, push or jump or bow. I used this in my line with Alex. I used these techniques in my line with Alex when saying from fair, I pushed his left shoulder for him to spin round in a circle. And from my other line from fair, I pushed his other shoulder so he span back around. and my line sometimes declines, I had to think about it. So I made a fist with both hands and placed them down on the floor to show that I was declining. I believe my movements represented what I was saying and set good levels of me on my knees and Alex standing up high up. I was partnered up with Terrell, Romario, Dan, Ange, Samuel and Timmy. From watching the animated video, I already had an idea on how I could add more movement, sounds and levels to the performance. In a group we thought of the basic things we would need to build our own scene. So we used the sounds we made in the first lesson and then involved a movement and improvisation on how we could portray our sound. Mine was a wind sound, but instead of creating and becoming the wind, I acted as if the wind was pushing me around on the ship. Terrell was more of a boom sound, so he partnered up with Dan and Samuel to become the evil winds Prospero sent out to destroy our boat. They used big movements, for example, Terrell smashing and clapping his hands together to make a sound as if the wind was smashing things. Me and Romario used our gymnastic skills. We had to create different levels and sounds to build the energy for the scene. I entered the stage on my hands, walking onto the stage, and smoothly transacted into looking for a way off the stage, whereas Romario cartwheeled off the stage and did the same. Our performance consisted of runs, jumps, falls, and wing clashes. And we created a jump by using Samuel's rock curled into a ball and Dan standing tall as if he was a post in the ship. When I stood on Samuel's back, I spread my hands to represent freedom. I believed I was using a range of levels and sounds and synchronized movements. We helped to set a clear view on the audience from a 360-degree angle.